Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 34 of Multiblock Madness. Over the course of the last couple of days, we've been exploring the basics of Minecraft quantum dynamics. We've looked at stuff like the linear accelerator, which takes particles and speeds them up a little bit, and then the synchrotron accelerator, which takes particles and speeds them up a whole lot, and we started shooting particles at objects in the target chamber. So, I guess these are basically the building blocks of QMD. Once we have these machines, we can do like 80% of the mod. There's a couple other concepts we'll explore, but I guess that's what today's for. So, to get much further, well, I guess, yeah, the next thing we have to do to get any further is make Bisco Superconductor. So this is just a crafting material for all intents and purposes, but once we have it, we can make elite processors, which can get us into the particle colliders. So far, we've only shot particles into objects, right, in target chambers, where we take, some particle, shoot it at some item. However, the other thing we can shoot particles at is other particles, and that is a good way to create exotic particles that we'll need in the future. So let's take a look at what we need to make Bisco. Of this, the main ingredient that we crafted last time was strontium. So strontium ingots at 326 ingots. Remember, these take an incredibly long time to make. So 326 is all we've got over the course of, I don't know, approximately a day. So we have to use it somewhat sparingly. We've also made some of this sodium-22. There was a quest for it. I don't know when exactly it'll come into play, but the quest is here waiting for us, I guess. Anyways, what else goes into the superconductor? I think there's at least some materials here that we don't have. Bismuth. Here, let's just pin them all. All right. So the strontium we literally just made, we can clear that. Bismuth, calcium, and copper. Copper is a trivial one, right? Copper oxide is just copper. We can get rid of that. Calcium and bismuth. So calcium, we have calcium sulfate and just a little bit of regular calcium. Well, I just went up one. Can we turn calcium sulfate into calcium by chance? We can get calcium by ore leaching. Okay, so we can get infinite calcium easily. But we already have enough of it, so we can unpin that. Now, how do we get bismuth? This is, I think, the more difficult one. We have a bunch of chemical extractor options, a bunch of spallation waste options. Does anything here give a lot of bismuth? 0.2. And what was our third option? Decay hastening uranium-233. But to get uranium-233, we have to probably best running a reactor. Or does this tell me? I mean, it's if we run a TBU reactor, right? We take TBU fuel. Maybe TBU fuel doesn't work the way I think it does anymore. No, here it is. And then we get uranium-233. Oh, we only get one piece out of it. Maybe let me take a look at bismuth sources. Maybe we have a shard that just has a lot of it already. There are some leachate shards that contain a fair chunk of bismuth. However, I've processed all my leachate down to 24 millibuckets of it. That's not going to work. The next option then I think is to start from scratch. So if I make sulfite gangs, which uninspected mineral, crush that, we've done that before. We can then process that into this shard, which is 36% bismuth, and we get more leachate for future processing out of the process. So I think we'll do that. Let me set this up. So we first need to set this to, what size was it? 3? Oh look, we're already on 3. Which produces, where's the list of possible outcomes? Doesn't it tell me? Oh, there it is. Only sulfide. Perfect. Turn that on, let it start crushing. It is crushing, right? Yeah. Okay, so there's still some, let's refill that. Infected minerals. I'm running low on this stuff. Doesn't come from many sources, but I also don't need a lot of it. I think there's an excavator vein that has it if I need more. All right, then the next step is we have to, don't process that yet, to 6.44 specific gravity. So I put the good filter in here so that we can have the most targeted filtration. And there we go. Turn this on, there's 2 possible shards. Only one of them is what we want. And eventually, I have this set up to output into its own little subnet here. I think this subnet has more storage than my main net. There's 10 64K drives in there. I think my main storage is still, right, yeah, it's 30 16K drives. So let's store about the same number, but that's kind of funny. I never had to upgrade my mainnet because all my bulk item storage goes into drawers. But anyways, we should be getting some of our first Iconite. Yeah, here it is. 16 pieces. So let's speed you up a little bit. Because I'm still in a single player world, I've been leaving my game open a lot to like let the processing happen. And I'm up to 150 hours of my time in a bottle. I get to use it pretty generously now. Anyways, take these shards and process them. The other shard also has 36% bismuth. So I guess both the shards I'm targeting has bismuth in it. Perfect. Can I search? No, I can't. Dang it. Looks like the extraction chamber is still in the process of going through these Stambar Skite shards, even though I've turned on my leech rate into it. There's still like an entire chest full of it. But I think I'm just gonna jump the line and get it to start processing one of our new shards, and it'll get back to the old ones eventually. The chest filled up at some point, so now I'm just automatically emptying it into the ME system. But if we look at what were some of those minerals that were in here that it was like ytterbium, right? Or ytterbium. Yeah, I have 1,000 pieces of it now, so you know, lots of dusts. This extraction controller or extraction chamber, it's pretty slow, but it's been just running. So it is also a machine that behaves very well when you time in a bottle. That bismuth is the last component to make the visco dust. So there we go. There is our first two pieces of it. I think I need the dust, the wire, and the elite product. Just have to touch all the things to complete the quests. What is a wire made of? 3 dusts, and we get 6 wires out of 3. Whoa. Why does this use a Californium RTG? Oh, we're gonna have to get Californium at some point. Oh, don't do this to me. Alright, we're gonna have to go up the entire fission tree. That's a problem for later. Anyways, was it advanced processor? Elite processor. One of these. Go. How long does it take? 300 ticks, but the machine sped up a lot. Okay, that shouldn't be too long. It's crafted. And we're done. Alright. Nice. So this gives us... Oh, I never touched the wire. This gives us access to... which one do I want to pick? Of these... Yeah, Strontium is the one we make the slowest. It really doesn't matter. They're all pretty easy to make. But at least they're all made passively. Alright. So now that we have that, we can make the collision chamber. This is this is where we collide particles into each other. What is this quest? The decelerator. So a decelerator is the opposite of a accelerator. Who'd have guessed, right? It slows down particles, reducing their energy. I'm sure we'll need these eventually. I see there's formulas in there. Before we just go around building particle collision chambers, though, we kind of need a goal. So my goal right now will be to make enough anti-helium-3 to make 1 ingot of incoherent matrix. The incoherent matrix is a everlasting ion source for phylons, so we only ever need 1, I believe. Based on that, then, the requirement is that we have to make, I guess, 100 millibuckets of anti-helium-3. That's made by colliding anti-helions with, or it's made by neutral containment chamber. We haven't looked at the neutral containment chamber yet, but anti-helions with positrons. It's similar to the collider. But anyways, positrons are what our sodium-22 is. And relatively speaking, they're the easy one to make, right? They need the same energy as they come out with, and so all we have to do is increase their focus. That's easy. The hard part is making anti-helions. So this is made in the collision chamber by smashing antiprotons with antideuterons. Antideuterons come from smashing, I think easiest one is smashing something into, well, smashing deuterons into something. There's a quest that wants us to specifically make lead spallation waste, so we'll probably do this one. But there's a lot of options here, you know, depending on energy, cross-section. I guess they're all 1% cross-section. Is there anything that has better than 1% cross-section in here? No, it's basically all the same. All right. Anyways, the Anti-Proton is similar. You smash a proton into something in a target chamber, and you pick off the Anti-Proton. So we have to make Anti-Protons in, let's see, this energy range. I think it's the numbers displayed here. This is the total energy between the two particles, and each particle needs to have minimum that amount. So each particle needs to have minimum 700 kiloelectron volts, and the total energy between these two particles together must not exceed 10 mega electron volts. I've looked through all the recipes, and I think I've come up with a plan. So, first of all, the Anti-Proton is a relatively useful particle, all things considered. It's useful not just in this specific reaction, but it enables one of the ways of making anti-deuterons, and it's useful later on when making muonium. It's a muon, right? So I guess it's muonium. I don't know. Because this reaction is most easily made by smashing at the beginning, anyways, antiprotons into things because of the higher cross-section. So anyways, antiprotons are something that we will consume all over the place. So what I want to do is make an antiproton factory. Then, out of our antiproton factory, the idea is to produce these anti-hydrogen cells. I guess an anti-hydrogen factory. But anti-hydrogen is effectively a way of storing antiprotons for use later. Then later, we can use it to make anti-deuterion first in a collision chamber, because this is, you know, relatively low energy. We can just have two identical accelerators producing two beams of antiprotons. As far as I know, there's no beam splitter in QMD. Maybe I'm just missing. In fact, is there a quest that talks about beam splitting? I don't think so, right? Yeah, no, I don't think you can split beams. Wait, diversion? No, let's do turn beams. All right, let's assume you can't split a beam, but nonetheless, this is a relatively, this collision, it's a relatively low energy collision, so we can handle it with just, once we have an anti-proton source, we can handle it with just two linear accelerators jamming it into each other. And then this reaction is likewise also a relatively low energy one. So once we have a anti-deuterion source, we can have another linear accelerator jamming antiprotons into it. As a result, that's my reasoning for wanting to make an antiproton factory. Now, how to make the antiproton factory? We have to make a lot of antihydrogen. This is most easily made, well, the only way to make it is by making antiprotons, and our positrons will come from our sodium, so that's trivial, right? This path is free. We need low energy but very high count antiprotons. To do that, my plan is to smash regular protons into any material here. Again, probably do lead, just because I have a lot of it. I have a quest that calls for it, and lead spallation waste produces hafnium. The issue is this recipe is relatively low cross-section. It's only 10%. In fact, every single recipe here is only 10%, so it doesn't matter what you smash. But at 10%, that means that even a very large target chamber, I think you can probably get to about 700% efficiency, which means that, you know, 700% times 10% is still only 70%, which means that for every proton in, we're getting less than one antiproton out, which means that I want more than 100 protons per tick in, because I want, you know, if we're going to use these antiprotons everywhere, we need a fast factory, right? So this is where we're going to start getting cute. We need to make protons in beams greater than 100 pu. However, you can't merge beams, just like you can't split them, as far as I can tell. Let me double check that statement. That is correct. So to increase particle units per tick, we have to do clever manipulation in target chambers or decay chambers, and that is exactly what I plan on doing. So I want a proton beam that has more than 100 pu per tick in it, right? Our hydrogen canister generates the base beam, so that's 100 pu per tick. And we have to use it in a way such that it produces more than it consumes. So if we look at recipes for proton beams in the let's take a look at the decay. Nope, literally can't do it in the decay chamber. In the target chamber, then. See how this recipe outputs 2 PU for an input of 1? The input is always 1. That means that if we can get this cross-section, if we can have sufficient efficiency, which we can't with 2.9% cross-section, but with sufficient efficiency, we can actually get more output protons than input. So let's find a recipe that meets that. I had seen one earlier, but I forgot which one it was. Is this actually the... No, this isn't the exact recipe I'm using, is it? To make sodium-22? What a world will we live in if that were the case. What am I hitting to make sodium? Can I not look at the input port? I'm hitting sodium. And this does not produce... No, I didn't think so. Okay, never mind. So much for living in an ideal world where my brain is ginormous. Anyways, I swear I had seen one here that output 3 protons and has enough cross-section that we can reasonably capture them all. I want it. Wait, we can input photons? I don't think that helps. On further review, it actually seems the decay of neutrons and protons is very useful here, because neutrons are actually relatively easy to make using effect fission. So the plan is we are going to start with a proton, run it, get it up to the right energy such that we can have it smash into actually uranium. So yeah, smash protons into uranium-238. This produces, hold on, there's one that produces 3. This one, that produces 3. No, there's another one that produces 4. Hold on. Now I'm just lost. Here it is. So this is effectively a fission process where we smash a proton into uranium-235, I guess it was. That produces 4 neutrons. Then we take these 4 neutrons. Now, the energy range here is very wide. That's very important, right? Because we can't modify the energy of the neutron once it comes out of this. So we produce 4 neutrons of anywhere between 15, because 1 proton becomes 4, or 1 proton becomes 4 neutrons. We divide these numbers by 4, 15 to 250 mega electron volts. We then take those protons, and then we can multiply them by 4 again. Theoretically, we can multiply it by 8, but I don't have copernicium 291. That's too much work to make. So the next best option is to multiply by 4 by smashing into uranium-238. Remember our range of 15 to 250? Well, that falls in this range. We can produce neutrons of the right energy to once again multiply it by 4. So for our 100 PU a tick input beam, we create a times 16, so 1600 PU per tick output beam of neutrons, and then we decay the neutrons into protons. It's 1-to-1, and then we have a 16 PU per or 1600 PU per tick proton beam that we can smash into something to make anti-protons. And this, because again, we won't quite get full yield out of it, because we'll get about like 70-ish% of that. Our net anti-proton beam will be like 1200 PU per tick, but still, that's a lot more than 100. All right, enough talking, enough looking at JEI. Let's build the damn thing. Starting from the beginning, we have a source of ions. So that's just hydrogen. Put through a linear accelerator to get it up to 5 mega electron volts. This is almost the same design as this one, except I optimized the coolers a bit. I realized on these layers that are all arsenic coolers, I can swap out half of them for copper to get slightly better cooling, and then as a result, I can put a slightly better electromagnet on the end as well, for slightly more focus. Difference almost negligible. So it's effectively the same accelerator. Anyways, that accelerates the thing up to 5.5-ish mega electron volts, sends it into our synchrotron. I did the synchrotron math now, and it came out to with a diameter of 4.5. So now that I know that diameters can be decimal, with a diameter of 4.5, I want a dipole strength of 3.196 or something. So 3.2 is the closest I can get. I'm pretty sure that'll just be perfect. And then we just have to cool this to, put enough quadrupole magnets in here to cool it. Put, a single RF cavity, and those are also not the blocks I meant to place there. Build out the synchrotron similar to the one we already have, except with slightly different components because we, want slightly different output behavior. I'm really trying to use this synchrotron as a test to see if I understand both the synchrotron math and the design. So I set up something that intentionally has empty space here because I think by not using more RF cavities than needed and just like using the more or less a minimum number of electromagnets as well, I can reduce the amount of healing to the point where I just don't need that space. What else? I guess that's it. Well, and I just want to double check that my output energy is right. So I want this to output just a hair over 104 mega electron volts. Might have to do that. 110, perfect. That is spot on. Chef's kiss. Mwah. So I now have a output beam of 110 mega electron volt protons that I can smash into uranium-235. As the particles come out of our synchrotron with the exact right amount of energy, thank you very much, they get smashed into uranium-235 here, and then that produces 4 neutrons. Remember, that's the whole point here, right? We're trying to multiply our protons. So 1 proton, 4 neutrons, 100 in, 400 out. Then those 400 get sent to a larger target chamber, this time because it's a base like 50-ish% efficiency one. So, or cross section, I need then at 200-ish% efficiency. But then 400 in, 1600 out. These are neutrons, though I don't want protons. So I have to take these, and they're now pretty low energy. There's not much you can do with neutrons that are this low energy, I expect. I guess we'll take a quick look just to be sure. In case, there's like a very trivial way. We can... That's not worth anything. Not worth anything. So yeah, all that's left to do now is to decay it. So make a decay chamber, you get 100% out, and proton. We'll throw away the electron and the electron anti-neutron. The decay chamber is built effectively identically to a target chamber. In fact, it's literally the same set of blocks, except you don't need an item port and use a different controller. Anyways, there's 3 outputs. Because I'm going for a charged output, it forces a 90-degree turn, and I choose to have my particle out this side. So you can shift right-click this to set between the 2 different charge outputs. I want 1, I expect. So now that I have a dense stream of protons, we have to re-accelerate this to 5 mega electron volts, right? Get it high enough that we can re-put it in a synchrotron and then smash it into something to turn it into antiprotons. I'll probably just cut to the point where we're looking at synchrotron output. This synchrotron needs to be significantly larger because now I'm trying to accelerate into the giga electron volt range. Specifically, I think I'm targeting just about 7 giga electron volts because that's how much we need for this recipe. We're going to be a hair under 7. So my first stab at this, first I did the math. It came out to, at a radius of, I think this is diameter is 17, so radius 8.5. I needed a dipole strength of 13.5. You can have additional dipole magnets in the center of your runs as well, and they count as just the same as the ones in the corner. So dipole strength 13.5, perfect. However, where I missed by just a tiny bit, is heat. My heat is like 500 off, and I'd left 500 easy heat or 400 easy heat on the table. When I placed my purpur and endstone ones on the corners here, I've always done endstone on the edges and purpur on the corners. Turns out if I do it the other way around, I get to sneak in 2 purpur coolers on the corners instead of 1. But now I can't put anything there. So I don't know where I'm gonna come up with the last 500 heat. I think I'm gonna downgrade some of our, like, I have more quadrupoles than strictly needed, so I think I can downgrade one of my quadrupole magnets. These are diborane. So if I downgrade from U to U, nope, that's an RF cavity cooler. All right. Yeah, electromagnet. Oh, that only gets me 280 heat per, though. I could rotate these. Let me... Where am I gonna find the heat difference? Hold up. I might not look it, but I'm actually a genius. the Enderium coolers have to be adjacent to 3 purpur coolers. And that's exactly what I have on these corners, 3 purpur coolers. So I'm going to call this a unintentional stroke of genius, because it was definitely unintentional, but it is pretty genius. I honestly don't even know why you're allowed to put blocks in like that one column there, because everything else is, you know, it's in this nice neat ring, but you get to cut the corner. I don't know. I haven't used that slot. Like I knew it had to be, or I knew it couldn't be glass because I've tried putting glass there before on my other synchrotrons, and the thing we tried to form the multi-block, it's like, no, that block cannot be glass. So it's like, okay, I guess we'll put air there. First time I have had to put coolers there. But anyways, I think our cooling is now fine, right? Maximum heating plus maximum. I'm not actually sure if external heating is included in maximum heating or not yet, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. Anyways, turn it on, and our number is going up, probably because I didn't actually give it helium. The other thing I'm considering is that the right liquid helium? Yeah. The other potential problem is that, yeah, coolant out 1.448 buckets per tick. That's faster than we can extract. So we can't use that fluid conduit. I could use lasers. I need something that can move fluid faster. Super laminar fluid ducts. Alternatively, apparently the output port auto pushes coolant out. I don't think the input port holds, but the output one does push. So we can push directly into a fluid interface. I'm using a thin one here just so I can like look past it. But anyways, this synchrotron is now doing its thing, and I just want to make sure that the output is 7 giga electron volts. That's exactly what we wanted. Jimmy, your brain is so huge today. This mod really makes you look smart, doesn't it? I think it does. All right, anyways, enough boasting. Now I have to smash these into lead to produce anti-protons. This process, though, conveniently still leaves us with a low energy stream of protons. So while I don't have an immediate plan for that proton stream, it is a 1600 pu per tick proton stream. Like it'd be a shame to throw it out. So I think when we do this reaction, I want to make sure to salvage this proton stream because we can reaccelerate it and put it to use later. But right now, what I'm after are the antiprotons. The efficiency of this target chamber matters tremendously, right? We did all that work to make as many protons as we could, so we don't want to lose output by not taking advantage of every drop we can squeeze out of this thing. So I'm using a max-sized target chamber, which is 9x9, I believe. Is this one 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 9x9. 9x9 external dimensions, so 7x7 internal dimensions, and then I'm also filling it up to the brim with as many detectors as I can. You know, we use the higher efficiency detectors on the inside, and then as we get further out, they have a requirement of being within X blocks of the center. So as we get further out, we have to use less good ones, but the less good detectors are better than no detectors, and I don't have enough. Thankfully, I could just be like, make me 200. Well, it turns out if you stack enough detectors in the thing, you can actually get a 10% cross-section recipe up to 100% output, right? You need 1000% efficiency to pull it off, and I have way more than that. Whoops. Oh well. Excess does, I guess it kind of hurts. It increases the energy usage. This thing is drinking 55,000 RF. That's not that much. But anyways, because of our extremely large input beam too, right, 1.6k pu per tick, we blast the lead very fast. We get a lot of this lead spoliation waste, and if I cared, we could process it into stuff. I don't care. So we just have to now take the output beam. So I think what I'll do is take that beam there and this beam here. So the anti is 3, right? Let's double check that, because I need the space to process the anti-beam. So the anti-proton beam, yeah, will be 3, I presume. And then we'll take this anti-proton beam, we have to turn it into a proton, or a... Wait, what were we turning it into? Into this, anti-hydrogen. So I'm going to need a neural containment controller, or neutral containment controller. And, well, actually, before we even get that far, hold on, I need to reduce its energy down to effectively 0. Thankfully, we can reduce its energy down to 0 with a decelerator rather trivially. The decelerator is very similar to a synchrotron. The maximum energy input is what the maximum energy output would be of a synchrotron. And then that's all there is to it. Oh, I didn't put any quadrupoles inside. I guess that's probably fine. Quadrupoles only increase focus. I should have enough particle focus left over to be okay. So RF cavities, you need you need one, and any voltage is fine. So I just have a very basic one. Heat is net negative. So this should be outputting, yep, the focus. Oh, let's make sure that this doesn't have a focus minimum on. Nope, it does have a focus minimum on the Anti-Proton of 2. So I need to increase the focus of this a little bit. We will drop in then some electromagnets. I'll add one layer of, actually, how much spare heat did I have? Not much. Should be fine. I included a few iron coolers just in case, but I also went and reread the quest here, and it actually says that the max cooling is the sum of internal cooling and external cooling. So I think as long as I'm above maximum heating, I'm okay. But I'm like the smallest hair above the sum of the two of them, so I don't know. Guaranteed that we don't melt it down. Anyways, yeah, this is now outputting this particle. So effectively 0 energy, 2.36 focus. That's half of what we need to make antihydrogen. The other half, since it's trivial to make, can I do, I guess I can make it with, oh no, I have to get its focus up to 2. So we do have to put it through a linear accelerator. But I think I'm going to pipe this side into a neutral containment facility, or neutral containment, they call that thing chamber. Yeah, unfortunately we can't make the actual cell yet because we have to still make Californium, but at least let's get the fluid crafting. The containment facility here doesn't do anything for us yet because we only have the Anti-Proton. We need to give it the other half before it does anything. However, once that happens, it produces anti-hydrogen, which is, I guess, like a antimatter fluid, and stores it in its internal tank. While there is antimatter in its internal tank, very bad things happen if it runs out of, or if it gets too hot, if it runs out of energy, or if you break the multi-block. I'm told it explodes. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, last step is to pipe in the the positrons. So they need to just have focus 2. That's the only requirement. We can generate positrons, but we only generate them with focus 0.2. So we're going to have to increase the focus in a linear accelerator. I'm thinking I'll try to put a, positrons can be turned, right? Yeah, I'll put a thing here to turn the positron so that I can put my accelerator over here. No, actually, no, this space might be useful later. I'll just go in a straight line. This gets to be a little baby accelerator because, again, only working on focus, not on energy. So I'm intentionally not leaving the or excluding the pipe connecting these two for now. If something were to happen, I want to have time to fix it before we go explodey. So, cooling, hold on, I should check this first. Yeah, the cooling situation's fine. We're outputting positrons at less than 1 kiloelectron volt and 2.76 focus. That is greater than 2. And, you know, it's occurred to me that I'm not actually going to make antihydrogen any faster, because my positron beam is too small. Where am I going to get a positron beam that has enough? I need a 1600. Wait, is that true? Yeah, I'm only going to make 1 millibucket per 6 ticks because my positron beam is too small. Where am I going to get a 1.6k millibucket per tick positron beam from? Hold on. This was a horrific failure of planning. What is my second byproduct here? Protons? How do I turn protons into positrons? I collide them into each other? Uh-oh. Got it. We can fix this. So, what I can do is take the proton beam that I have coming out of our collision chamber there, target chamber, shoot it at copper, which gives an alpha particle. Specifically, I need to turn the beam into a positron beam, right? And I would like to do so without losing the proton beam in the process, because the proton beam might be useful later, who knows. I need it to be a relatively high cross-section thing. So there's a bunch of recipes here that do output, like, this would be wonderful. I get an alpha particle, I get to keep my protons, I get to make some extra neutrons, but the cross-section is just too low to be useful. So anyways, plan is blast the... I've already lost it. Wait, no, it wasn't that one. It was copper. Yeah, blast the copper because it has high cross-section. I don't care about the nickel it produces, but this produces an alpha particle. Then we take the alpha particle. It might actually... Ooh, if I do it right, we might even just get an alpha particle with the right energy output. No, it'll be too high. 45 minus 4. We get like a 40, about 45, low 40s to mid 50s alpha particle. That's too energetic, dang it. But then we take that particle, we hit aluminum with it, and that produces our positrons and gives us neutrons back, which we can decay into protons if we need additional, if we need our protons back. Is it worth that trouble? I'll do it later. For now, I just want to get this antimatter system started. So what I'll do is turn you off briefly, get this pipe in place. Hard thing about placing these is getting the orientation. This is where orientation lock comes in, I guess. All right, so when I flip this on, we should start making antimatter. But because of the explosive antimatter, I'm going to take a backup in case something awful happens. But in order to actually use this antimatter, I still have to make the empty cell, which requires making californium. Send help. That'll probably be our next task for tomorrow. But anyways, backup's done yet? Not quite. Give it a second. All right, backup's done. Here we go. Q. So let's check. Why is this controller on this side? I mean, why would you do that? There we go. We are making anti-hydrogen. So now that we have it, oh, I can. Am I allowed to do this? Is this going to blow up? Shift click to clear tank. Oh god, that was almost really bad. That voided all the coolant. Oh, okay. I see. So if I don't have incoming positrons or incoming particles, I can clear the recipe and not void, not blow it up. Oh my. But yeah, we are now making anti-hydrogen, which we can then bottle, and this is our positron source for the future. I'm thinking maybe I think we'll wrap up here for today. I'll build the components to fix this issue off camera, just because it's just a couple more. I think it's like a couple accelerators, decelerators, and collision chambers. Nothing we didn't already do today. Yeah, lots of planning involved for QMD, and if you make a small mistake, you end up doing this, where you set all this up to make positron or to make antimatter 16 times faster, except you skipped a step. All right, whatever. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye bye.